name's not Debs, it's Earl. That's Debs, but
They felt like switching shirts today?
yeah, well, we have opposite shirts because
We're afraid of him wearing the same shirt 3 days in a row. So.
yeah,
Not good.
And this is Amanda Whitney.
Also known as
She's
Witless.
She's a reviewer for AdventureGamers.com. I don't know if you guys have heard of that website.
Probably
Yeah,
not.
cool.
There is an exclusively adventure game website. It's awesome. I just became a reviewer about 3 months ago. I don't know, 3 months ago. And Errol and I are both creative partners, and we both love adventure games. So when we
She's
found
played
out,
all the new ones, and I've played all the old ones. So
yeah, so he's more the
Also
expert
read
on-
as the good ones.
well, a lot of the new
There's-
ones I found I really like.
Yeah.
Right? So I
And by new, we mean like maybe like 99 onwards. So
Oh, okay.
new,
sorry. Yeah,
new is
my
a
old
relative
is way
term.
back into like.
He's like 77. And you
Yeah.
played like the original stuff.
Yes, I did. I
Yeah.
like them so much. I wrote a song about Zork. If you guys know what Zork is.
Yeah, I was there for that yesterday.
Oh, there you go. See, there you go. I wrote a song for the walkthrough for Zork because that's how much I like Zork. And it was really cool because you guys won't know any of this. There's this beast called the Doran Beast. I don't know if you guys. It's within the whole Infocom area, and it was neat because a guy by the name Mike Doran, who I think the beast was named after. Hello, Mike. Got in contact with me because that song got posted onto Boing Boing, and it says, "Hey, you should put that on Rock Band." But the person who made the instrumentals thought, "Oh, that'd be really hard to do Xbox programming." I went, "Yeah, I'm not going to do it," so it never happened. But it was just really neat that one of the guys from Infocom, who's I think, what is it part of Activision now? I don't know what he's doing now. Anyway, got a hold of me. Hello.
Hello. Just before we start, anything you need from me?
I think we're good.
She wants hugs.
I can give you a hug.
Oh, she's sick.
No, I'm
sorry,
sick.
she's
I don't want a
sick.
hug from
But she
me.
desperately needs them.
I'm gonna have the con plague anyway.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I like send someone who's already sick up.
So I'm going periodically to make things sure things are running smoothly and give you a 5-minute warning when
Great,
it's time
thank
to
you so
end.
much.
I'm just pleased people showed up. So
Yeah.
I'm good. You guys can just talk about whatever now. No.
They're gone. Now we can talk.
Yeah. Anyway, so we figured when we found out we were guests at the con, we both wanted to do an adventure game panel.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a bit about the history of them, some of our favorites, why they declined in popularity, because there was that sort of golden age of
An awesome
adventure
little name.
games, like in the late 80s, early 90s. And then they just sort of... Pardon?
I said Castlevania.
It's not an adventure game. Well, it's funny to actually adventure games, because I actually did some research on this. Mostly because I didn't want to come completely unprepared.
Sounds like an adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, it was. Wikipedia Great Adventure. Actually, I went to my own website. I asked my editor, I was like, do you have any resources? So he sent me like a whole 5-page definition of what adventure gaming is. I'm not going to read from this.
Fine, you're not just going to read from a, wow, come on.
There are 3
You could put up a
characteristics that are
PowerPoint
always
and
present
you could
in an
read from that
adventure
too.
game.
It'll be so fun.
Yeah, we don't have multimedia things. We're not special. But that was interesting actually for me, which was like, what exactly is the definition of adventure game? Because it's pretty broad. Like, there's a very basic one that very basically is it's a game that doesn't really involve action and is more story-driven and narrative-driven or character-driven as well. It focuses more on that. Puzzles actually are kind of like a secondary thing to adventure games. They're very well known to have puzzles, but it's actually not the main definition of an adventure game. So, and that's interesting. Now, of course, that's kind of changing now because adventure games are sort of evolving in a way that people haven't expected them to. Like, if you see some of the newer ones that have come out, like The Walking Dead, that actually depends a lot more on action. Like, they're quick time events, but it's still an action-y element to it. Same with games like...
Have you guys heard of The Walking Dead? Okay.
Maybe.
The adventure games. Okay.
Play
It's
it if
also
you...
a good show.
Yeah, it won, what did it win?
It won, the game?
Yeah, the game.
The game, well, we just did, it won, like, best characters, best story, best writing for drama, best voice acting.
One game of the year, didn't it?
It did win Game of the Year, yes.
Wow.
Yeah. It's won a whole bunch of awards, and it's kind of being lauded as the game that's going to bring back adventure gaming. Now, well, the interesting thing is that there was that sort of golden age period for adventure games, and then it kind of just went on a decline, and people have been debating for a long time as to why adventure games kind of just dipped in popularity. A lot of it actually had to do with technology. Back when computers were just becoming being sold for home use, they weren't actually all that powerful, and so you couldn't have a lot of action-y type games on it because the processor couldn't keep up with them. So what adventure games were able to do was actually use the limited technology to their advantage, and they learned to work within the parameters, and that was kind of why they rose in popularity the way they did.
That's cool. Can you imagine watching a screen and text loading on a screen slowly?
Yeah, actually, the very first text
Like a red from a
adventure,
disc.
which was just the very first text adventure, which was just called Adventure, or I think it was called later on like Colossal Cave Adventure or something. It actually, they couldn't sell it commercially at first because it was just too powerful for computers. And this is like, and you think about today's standards, yeah, text adventure looks very basic, but it just gives you an idea of just how new computers were and how, like these games were being played by the designers in this huge room or whatever.
When Zork was first made, it was made as one whole game, if you guys know, if you're familiar with that. And then they broke it up into 3. Same things with Settlers of Catan, if you guys know what Settlers of Catan is. It was originally 3 games, and then they broke it up into nights. Anyway, we're not
Yeah. So you actually sort of had, once that came out, people sort of got inspired by it, and a lot of the big game companies I found all started within the same, 3 years. Sierra started in, 1980, Infocom started in 1979, LucasArts, I think, was a bit later. I think they were in around mid-1980s. I have it in my phone there, but I'm not going to look now.
And I didn't look up what SCUM stood for. I'm so sad.
Oh yeah, what is does anyone know what SCUM
I
stands
forgot.
for?
I could wiki real quick if you
Yeah.
LucasArts was the first one to actually introduce what was known as the SCUM system. So up until that point, you had Sierra, companies like Sierra and Infocom, which depended on text input for you to play the game. So I don't know, had any of you? You're all so young. Did any of you play
I'm not that young.
what?
Not that young. Just because I'm Asian doesn't mean It's really cool. Have you guys, you probably know Yahtzee, Ben Yahtzee, right? From
Yeah.
No Punctuation. Have you played his games? He's written that book of his, right? So you know, but he actually has 3 adventure games called the Trilby series. And they're actually really good. They're,
Scum script creation utility
That's it,
for Maniac Mansion.
Maniac Mansion. That was the first
I
game that
remember
was
the
used.
MM. So if you ever want to, and they're very 8-bit, they're very 16-bit,
Yeah.
and it's a very involved plot line, and it spans I don't want to give anything away, but one of them, I think it's the middle one, you actually have to type in. The other ones are more point and click. The middle one, you actually have to type it, and you have to, because there are some puzzles that there's no other way to do what he wants you to do. Because
So yeah, I don't know if any of you played some of those older King's Quest games where you had to type in all the commands, and you did have those very aggravating. We actually wrote a skit. My friend wrote a skit for a play that we did, which was just called Text-Based Adventure. It was very much like, go over here. I do not understand. Go over. And it's so. And I played those games when I was 10 or younger even, and
did you even spell back then?
no, my motor skills. So what I would do is I'd type it in very slow. I'd die first, because I died a lot in those games. And then right before I got to the screen where I knew I was going to die, I'd type in very slowly and then just have my finger hovering over the enter key while he went across the screen, and then, yeah. But then LucasArts came out with the SCUM interface, which was the first point and click interface. And yeah, you said they still had text input in that game, right? They still had, but it was, so it was actually Monkey Island was the first one to actually use it exclusively. And that changed things. So
and the great thing with things like the Monkey Island games, you can find them now for iPad or anywhere on, and they've updated all the graphics. And I don't know if you've looked at it. I know on the iPad it's really cool, because if you swipe with 3 fingers, it will show you the original 16-bit graphic, and then you can swipe back, and it'll show you the all redone graphics, and it's really cool because I sometimes just go because it switches sound as well.
I'm like, I just played it on the old style just for the nostalgia because I played the original when it came out.
Yeah, so
yeah.
like it's just fun to switch back and forth, and even the close-up screens as they're chatting and talking away,
On the Xbox version, you get an achievement for switching to the classic one.
and just playing on it.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay.
So because they were working with limited technology, there was a lot of innovation going on because it's sort of like how can we figure out new ways to do things without like breaking the computers. And then a few things happened. Actually, one thing that happened, and a lot of people. How many people have actually played Myst? There we go, everybody.
Not everybody, those three did it.
Those three did it.
Nice
That's okay.
for like, you know,
I did.
excluding them. Oh my goodness.
I
Well,
played Myst and the game after Myst.
Riven? Oh, that's the better one.
My grandpa had both of them, so he gave me to the
Oh,
Cool.
really? Oh, Riven actually Myst revolutionized a certain type of gaming. Riven perfected it. Riven
Aggravating puzzles.
aggravated.
Yes.
They perfected the aggravating. There's a puzzle. Okay, this is going off topic. There's a puzzle, Riven. It's not even a puzzle. It remains one of my most aggravating gaming moments in my entire life. And it's like, you're walking, we were trying to find our way. We just saw this building in the distance. We needed to find our way there. We needed to we were like searching everywhere. We were like, is it down this ladder? Is it over here? Is there a pathway we missed? What did we miss? And as we're doing this, we're searching inside this building and we're walking out, and just as a joke, and this is after like 2 or 3 hours of searching.
We didn't have internets back then.
We didn't have walkthrough, and then just as a joke, my friend went, let's walk ourselves in, and she just like clicked on the doors, and we didn't know those were we could interact with doors, and suddenly these 2 doors shut, and behind those 2 doors were 2 other doors. And we were just sitting there like.
So you solved it in the end. Yay!
Yeah, we needed 5 minutes to get over that.
I think my
but-
most frustrating puzzle was in King's Quest IV: Perils of Rosella. Not that anybody would have known that, but it was nasty because you had to find a harness so that you can capture a unicorn. And where was the harness? It was, if you saw the screen, which is all 2D, there was a boat. And all you had to know was that you just had to pick up right behind that boat. There was nothing to tell you to pick up. You just had to pick up. So just pick up. And then she would bend down and she found a harness. It was the nastiest thing ever. There was no clue to that whatsoever.
Yeah.
I hate Sierra sometimes.
Many types of puzzles. So like.
And that's what was really nice when LucasArts came along, because they made sure that you could never die.
But Lucas, yeah, that was one thing that I enjoyed was because Sierra was terrible actually for the dying. Sorry, did you have a question or?
I remember my most irritating moment was I think it was in one of the old Sierra games. It was like you had to figure out this like dwarf's name or something.
Oh, the
Oh,
Rumpelstiltskin puzzle.
Yeah, backwards.
Backwards in the alphabet. So
Yes.
it's like it was like you have to go to the alphabet and then go backwards, and it was like how you there's no it's like
Yeah, the worst
witch's cabin that's completely unrelated has some note like vaguely hinting. It's
Yeah. The worst part about the Sierra games, like I love Sierra. I played King's Quest, I played Police Quest, I played
Heroes Quest.
I didn't play Heroes
Leisure
Quest.
Suit Larry.
I played some of that. The worst parts about those games actually was that it didn't matter. Like there might have been something that you needed to pick up very early in the game. If you missed it, if you just happened to walk by it, then and you needed it like 3 hours later, that's it. No, there's just no winning the game now. You had to like go all the way back to your save point if you saved it.
Oh, jeez.
God help you.
So they stopped that.
Space Quest.
You had
Oh,
to take that cartridge out at the very beginning if you didn't, the ship blew up.
King's Quest for me, it was like, oh look, this cat is chasing this rat. And before I even had, and I had like set the speed to like supersonic speed because I didn't want to wait for him to get across the screen. But that meant everything in the game was supersonic speed. So this cat just suddenly like comes by and kills this rat. Well, it turns out that rat was useful. You didn't know why, and what did you need to do? You need to throw like a boot at it that you found in a desert somewhere. And I hadn't been to the desert yet. Anyway, so but with LucasArts,
They stopped that.
you couldn't die.
You couldn't die, and you couldn't pick anything up that you needed later on that could get destroyed. So it's like, which
Yeah.
is really, because there's a lot of those games, like, you could set it into an unsolvable state, but still work on it for the next
Yeah.
4 days.
But it was
It's like,
interesting
thank you.
because each game company did sort of have their niches of games. So like LucasArts was very much known for that, and for they did have some pretty obscure inventory puzzles at times.
They like to hide things behind doors. Yeah,
And like so
it happens a lot.
Behind
that-
doors, in safes, in desk drawers.
No, but
in the
the
basement.
whole idea of things behind doors. So you
In
have to
walls.
close the door to find the key, which happens twice. One in Monkey Island, another time in Day of the Tentacle.
That is my all-time favorite. I've played Day of the Tentacle more times than I can count.
Oh
Day of the
yeah.
Tentacle is
Such
awesome.
a beautiful
It
game.
had voice acting that was really good. They hired people to do voice acting. And there's this one part, and he's a stagehand, and he's like a druggie, and he's called Hoagie. And
Yeah.
all he does is that he sits and he talks to a mummy, and there's the dialogue tree, and you just can keep on clicking, but the mummy never responds. So he's just talking, so what's up? Yeah, I'm having a good day too. And it just goes on forever, and I just kept on clicking. He's just gonna keep talking to this mummy, and it was fun.
So yeah, when Myst came out, that did sort of change everything in that it was the first person slideshow view was a bit more immersive, I guess.
And beautiful.
Yes.
And it was
It had
beautiful.
really
Like
nice
when I first
graphics.
played it, I was amazed. And fortunately, my poor friend, she was the one that introduced me to Myst. She regrets it every day because I didn't have a good computer at home. I couldn't play Myst, so she was like, I went over to her house and she was just like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" This was like the second time I met her too, and
New friend.
you're my new friend, and she was like,
Play games every day.
so then she was like, "Well, let's play this game I have. It's called Myst." She lent me the novel that same day, actually. There's a novel, read it. And I was obsessed after that. I go over, she's like, "What do you want to do?" "We're not playing Myst." Just like, please. But that changed everything, actually. Well, it didn't change everything, but suddenly all of these companies wanted to cash in on the success. Up until, I think, 2000, it was still, yeah.
Have you played Darkseid?
Yes, I have.
I haven't known.
That's old. Oh my goodness, that's really old. That was hard. It was
Yes.
it was all black and white and confusing at times, but yes. Geiger did the H.R. Geiger, you guys, alien guy, does all the art. He did all the art for Darkseid. And I actually remember getting
It was a
that.
disturbing game.
Yeah. It was a very disturbing game. I have no mouth and I must scream. I don't know if you guys have played that. Yeah, that's a really fun game. That's crazy disturbing. Probably, almost as fun and disturbing as, well, no, not that Psychonauts was disturbing, but it was kind of cool when you got to,
Yeah, I could get like some of the memories you find and
Yeah,
stuff.
right?
You're
It's the
just
same kind of idea. Anyway, sorry. What was I talking? We were talking about Darkseid. The funny thing about Darkseid is that my work, when I used to work a long time ago for IBM, they gave away prizes, and there were two of these games. One of them was Darkseid, and I don't think anybody else. But I don't want this. And the other one was some full motion video game. It was pretty. crappy.
full motion video.
I think that was probably the death of adventure games, actually.
Full motion video?
Yeah.
What was the last full motion video game I played? And no, I was gonna say it would have been. I played the X-Files. Has anyone played the X-Files game? The full motion video? You should. It's
No, and I really don't want to because by the way you're saying, you're like, have you played it?
Oh no, play it. It's fun.
Okay.
Well, there's a couple like really aggravating moments, but it's not full motion video. It's actually filmed, just like an episode of the X-Files, which at the time we were huge fans of it. But I think everybody's qualm with that game is that you're not playing as Mulder or Scully. I didn't care. You just you're searching for them. That's the thing. But it's really interesting. So, but the last one I played was actually Myst 4. I think that was the last time they used the full motion video.
But they did it in a cool way because they embedded it while you're playing. at the
Yes.
same time.
That was cool. Myst 4 is a beautiful looking game. I have a lot of
Did you need a
qualms
chair?
with the game.
Sorry, I'm standing. There's two of them there. I'm sorry. I'll put these. Are you with him? I can.
He came before me, so I was going to give him that chair.
Oh, here. I don't need a chair for my feet. I'm sorry. Maybe you want the unfoot one. Sorry. Okay, we're good.
This is in case I. Oh yeah, there's a chair up there. Don't be shy.
It's fine. Sorry.
But I was talking. What was I talking?
You're talking about full motion video.
Myst 4 actually. Myst 4 was and really kudos to Ubisoft and Presto Studios for keeping the Myst franchise going as long as they did. Especially given that nobody really wanted to put money into those games by that point either. Myst 4 is a great game. I have a few qualms with it, but It's a beautiful game. I don't know if any of you've played it, but I just walked around tapping things for like half an hour because you could interact with like everything. And unfortunately, some of the acting in it is really hysterical. Like, I think there's an enemy in it. His name is Zach North. He's from the first game, and every time he speaks, he's just like a big old angry grizzly bear. And I just like I couldn't get over that. And then the other guy like might as well have been twirling a mustache. He was so evil. You're supposed to have a moral choice in the end. Every game, every Myst game, there's some moral choice, or like you have a choice to make. You can either do one or the other. And for the most part, it's actually a bit harder to choose through the first and second and third game. Third game mostly because you're dealing with a crazy man, and you just don't know what he's gonna do no matter what you do. So there's like 5 different bad endings, and I got most of them just because I was like, here, okay, fine, I'll give you the book. Okay, just threw it over the edge. Fine. So that was wrong. And did anyone play Myst? Brad Dourif is in it. He's also played he played Wormtongue in Lord of the Rings. He like specializes in playing crazy people. He plays a lot of crazy people. But Myst 4, you get to the end, the choice is so obvious. They present it like it's a really tough choice. I'm like, no, it's not.
Don't vote for Brad Dourif. Poor guy. He always plays creepy guys.
He likes it, I think,
I
though.
think he does.
I don't think he would do it if he didn't like
Good
it.
at it.
So he's very good at
Is he
it.
like Steve Buscemi kind of thing?
No, Steve Buscemi sometimes can play a good guy or a crazy guy, but he always plays worm-tongue creepy guys.
But unfortunately, what Myst did was, a lot of studios started making these what's called Myst clones. And they're cheaply made, and there was a ton of them. And a lot of people were like, because the question is always, is adventure gaming dead? It's not dead, but I read some articles, like my editor sent me some articles to read. Most of them were actually written back in 2003, so they're not exactly recent. That was when people were just pretty much convinced that, was like, no, there's not going to be any more. Actually, just as a clarifier, we're kind of focusing on Western gaming here. Japanese gaming is an entirely different...
They're all crazy over there.
Yeah, so, they have their own like interactive novel adventure games and stuff.
They have dating sims.
Yes, sorry.
I was going to say that it's more endangered really than it is dead.
It's stagnant. It was stagnant at the time. People found the formulas that they liked, and suddenly all of that innovation that was going on before, trying to discover new ways of gameplay, trying to discover new ways of telling a story through gaming. Because gaming is an entirely different way of telling a story. It's not like a movie. It's not like a book. You're interacting with it.
And the problem with an adventure game, you can really only play it once, and then you're done, right?
Yes.
So, if anybody's ever played The Orient Express, it is a brilliant game, but it bankrupted the company.
Yeah.
Completely destroyed the company. Right?
And
but it is a brilliant game.
Even games like Journey, it's not exactly an adventure game, but the company's bankrupt now. They had to close down. This game is winning all these awards, it's getting all these accolades, but it just didn't quite sell enough. And
Which is sad because it was an amazing game.
Yeah.
it's an amazing game.
And Myst Online also didn't follow,
Myst
right?
Online-
She was on it because she's a faithful girl.
I bought Myst Online. It took me so long. The problem with Myst Online was they put a ton of money into that. They put a lot of work into it. They put a lot of detail into it. But you go into a server like, say, World of Warcraft, and you notice that the environments, while like somewhat detailed, are a little less detailed than you'd say like getting your average like game, I guess.
It's a big world.
Yeah, it's a big world, and you have a lot of people going on there. Myst Online, they decided we're going to make it so detailed and everything. We're going to have this, and the server could only handle 100 people on at a time. So, and the thing is, and the problem is, as I was watching it, I'm like, adventure games aren't really a good online experience, because what ended up happening was, first, they made these promises, like, we'll have a new age every month, and they discovered that was an age, by the way, for the 3 people who live in, it's like different worlds that you go to through books. It's awesome. The other thing was that you couldn't die in this game, but it was so annoying because they made it basically a platformer. It was now a third-person perspective. You were running along, so you'd be like running over this like chasm with lava, and if you slipped off, it was a neat little feature. You had like a little book on your belt, And so before you hit the lava, you just like, your little avatar automatically links back to your home world. But then you have to go back and find your way back. So there's like, it was kind of annoying. And the only thing is like, when they tried to advance the story, they had a storyline going. And it was basically, what ended up happening was, you'd find out that an event was going on in the main cavern. So of course everybody would rush to the main cavern, and everybody
Would the server crash?
The server would crash. And we ended up developing a guild of relayers, we were called, and we ended up. So our job was one of us would get into that cavern. The moment one of us got into that cavern, they would let all the other relayers know. We'd go to our little online neighborhoods where people could hang out more easily, and we'd relay what was going on. And then so I'm sitting
touching a rock now.
So
it's
like
the wrong rock.
so then it was like, oh, someone was trapped in a cavern. Oh no. So like I'm typing this out, like fast. I'm like and people are crowded around me all in the loud. I'm like, I'm doing a radio show. I'm a newscaster right now. I'm not actually playing the game. I'm a reporter. And so it was a flawed game. It was a good attempt. But ultimately, I don't think it worked. Again, kudos to them. They made a cool world. And plus, Myst as a platformer just doesn't work at all. It was very flawed. And you couldn't pick anything up. So you had this, a puzzle where you had to, there were these pressure plates around. And it was one of those, you had to get something on the pressure plate. You couldn't pick up a box and put it on the pressure plate. You had to walk your avatar to kick a box over there. But sometimes there were like bones too that you had to kick, and it was like all these bones would if you kicked it just the wrong way, it'd go flying to the other side of the room. You're like, go walking back. Anyway, so but that was actually, in a way, it was good because they were trying to find a new way to reinvigorate the genre again. But it's interesting because now they're sort of making a comeback. They're never going to reach that point where they did in the 90s where, people were just crazy about them. But for instance, they're doing some amazing things. You're actually starting to see some innovation again. First, action games are kind of becoming, that was another thing that happened. The PlayStation came out. And PlayStation, suddenly there were these incredibly immersive, beautiful, detailed games, and the one thing...
PlayStation 2 had Okami.
There you go, yes.
Ico.
And adventure games couldn't... And the one thing, I love adventure games, I love the puzzles, I love playing them, but I will admit that the one thing that they can probably never offer is that adrenaline rush.
When you're trying to type fast to be able to punch skeleton.
So
Yeah.
back in the day, there were these things called multi-user dungeons. So if you can imagine World of Warcraft, but all in text.
Oh, yeah.
All flying back. And so that would happen. It was like, you're being attacked. Oh, kill dragon. But then lag would happen. And then all of a sudden, what's happening? Then after a while, I'm dead. With a sad state of affairs. But of course, we would still play, if you're ever in university. I had somebody who missed their exams for that. I played too much games.
There were some good ones in the late 90s, early 2000s that came out as sort of I call it the swan song, I guess, but Longest Journey was one. If you've played that, it's a fantastic game. If it's a little wordy. They do like to talk a lot in that game, but it's a great game. And it's interesting because the company then made the sequel to Longest Journey called Dreamfall, and they actually tried to incorporate some action elements into it. So they were like, there's a combat setting, and it didn't work too well either. It was basically, I don't know if you can set the difficulty, but I think I had it on easy. And easy is basically the man stands there while you hit him. Until later in the game, it's easy, ridiculously hard, you can't do it at all. Because you could either, you always had a choice. You could either fight somebody or you could sneak by them. I'm not good at sneaking. I get too stressed out, so I would rather just bludgeon them and get it over with. But
That's how you approach dating. Sorry.
you were doing so well.
I'm not letting you talk. See, it's all
Oh,
good.
look at that. But there's some great innovation going on right now, and a lot of, like, think about it, a lot of the people involved in that were people who used to be a part of LucasArts, and who used to be a part of, they're still, actually, they're not, they're more dead here, or they're more stagnant here than they are in Europe.
Europe has a crazy amount of adventure games.
A crazy amount.
Yes.
It's,
Sorry?
Like Seville.
Which one?
Seville.
I've heard of it.
German.
Oh,
Yeah, I've heard of it.
What about that Kickstarter project?
I know
It succeeded.
It succeeded. Oh, that's just the other thing. The
Which one?
thing is,
Dreamfall sequel.
oh no, there's another
Oh,
one.
the other one,
Double
okay.
Fine's Kickstarter.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, so the people who made The Longest Journey just started a Kickstarter campaign to make a sequel, and they got their $850,000 in like 3 days, which was fantastic.
That's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Well, this is the thing that Kickstarter's doing.
what is this game?
Adventure games. You don't have to say it.
Yeah. You know what? You're in now. Suffer. Kickstarter is actually, because what the problem with game companies, and you can't really blame them for this, they want to put their money in something that's sure to get return, and adventure games aren't a guarantee anymore.
But games where you can have monthly payments will get people money.
Not anymore.
So,
Well, not anymore, but yeah.
So what Kickstarter's doing is it's allowing creators and designers to try it out themselves and to get the funding necessary. Because that's always the big thing, is funding. So you're getting Double Fine, for instance, is coming out with some really cool stuff, like Stacking was one, The Cave. I haven't played it yet, but
Oh yeah, that's the multi. Yeah, we have to play that.
we do have to play that.
That's,
But it's like an adventure game platform, and it looks like it's one that works.
Because it's a multiplayer one. Yes, sorry.
I was gonna say that you're talking about the monthly fees and stuff like that. I was gonna say, so kind of like pay to win side too.
Yeah, we don't need that.
Walking Dead is, like I said before, is probably a big one. It's an awesome game, actually. It is a huge, and people didn't realize it was an adventure game. And it's funny because some people will complain about the slower pace, and sometimes I think these games are a bit mismarketed. Well, another one was Heavy Rain. If you've played, I love that game, but I can understand because the way
There's so many glitches in that game.
there's so many glitches, but if you watch any of the trailers, it looks like this big action-packed game. It's not. You
It's
do
a
a lot
very
of
slow
walking
game.
around. It's very much an interactive movie more than it is.
It's
yeah.
more.
You even press like buttons to make him go to the washroom.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, I know. It's like, I'm gonna drink this juice
Just
now.
kidding.
I was gonna be like, do you want him to open the door? You want to open the door? Open the door? No, open the door, no.
If you ever watch a
Except
Let's
you
Play,
better
there's
run, you
a
open a
group
window.
called Video Games Awesome. And they do a Let's Play of Heavy Rain, and it's pretty hilarious the way they have fun with some of the quick time events. Yeah.
You can glitch it out at one point in the game to make one of the main characters repeat saying Sean over and over.
Oh, seriously?
Even in the
Sean button?
Even in the end credits, you keep saying Sean.
I annoy my friends so much when, like, we actually, the way we played it was we each played a chapter, so it ended up being a really schizophrenic game because we both made choices that neither of the other one would have made. So, like, I'm like, don't kill the drug dealer, he's a father!
I know there's one other glitch in that. I know there's one other glitch in Heavy Rain where you can get the main female character to walk around her bedroom naked.
Naked?
I heard about
I know
that.
she can, well, she takes, that must be a glitch, because she takes a shower,
Yeah.
and then, it's a European game, so of course,
They're all-
clothes come off, and then, but then immediately after the cutscene is she just immediately puts her clothes back on, so there's a glitch apparently.
Yeah.
That's interesting. There's always a glitch for that.
Yeah.
There's always
It
a
was
nude
designed
code.
by people
Yeah.
who were like, I really wanted to know. But Heavy Rain actually, it's an excellent story and everything, but it was very much mismarketed. It looked like a hugely action-packed game. It's not. It is. The quick time events later on, it's a slow build, and I think if any of you have played the Indigo Prophecy, which was kind of... Yeah, I love that game.
Have you played Siberia?
Yeah.
Have you played
Love
Siberia?
Siberia. Yeah, that's a good classic third.
I don't
The
think I've played
DLC
number
for
two.
Heavy
Oh, I
Rain,
haven't.
the DLC for Heavy Rain, the Taxidermist, one of the freakiest DLCs I've ever played.
Yeah, no, I
Ever.
played it.
Period. It's disturbing as like.
It's darn
It's
freaky.
just-
I knocked over that stupid owl
I know.
I was like, you're supposed to like sneak around this house.
Detective never found.
Oh, you got that?
Yeah.
Oh no, you're supposed to like sneak around this house, and then the guy comes home, and if anything's out of place, and of course, like the moment I walk into the house, boosh! I just knock something over. I'm like, crap.
That reminds me of, this is an old game, Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, you start an interstellar war if you ever say a typo. This happens near the beginning. So if you ever put in an accidental typo, and it's okay, it's part of the game of you, but later on in the game comes the point where you start an interstellar war because of a typo you said. And I always wanted to know, I wonder if I could go through the whole game to that point without saying a type, without accidentally typing something in. Because what would have been done by then? I don't know. I should have looked up on the internet. Anyway, it was really cool.
Someone's
Sorry.
done it eventually.
Yeah, someone must have done that.
Siberia's a gorgeous game. That's another one. Oh, I remember, yeah, Heavy Rain is too, actually. There's also action games now that are sort of incorporating adventure elements into them.
Like Deus Ex.
Deus Ex, I haven't played that.
There was a lot of adventure game, actual
Oh yeah.
components in it, yeah.
LA Noir is another one.
Yes.
And again, people, some of us are like, well, in the when you're exploring, when you're looking at the puzzles, actually the interactive novel idea or the interactive story or movie idea is sort of becoming a bit more popular over here now. If anyone's played To the Moon, has anyone played? Oh.
That was great.
Oh.
Loved it.
Do you mean the RPG?
Yeah. Well, it's RPG-ish.
Yeah.
It's one of the most linear things you'll play.
It almost made me cry.
No,
It's
it
really
did
impressive.
make me cry. I was homesick and I'm like, I'll just play this game. And by the end of it, I was.
I have that on
So
Steam.
sad.
That must have
Me
helped get
too.
the
I
phlegm
have it
out.
on- so it's- Oh,
That must have helped get the phlegm out.
Yeah,
Like cry out all of the sick.
I did. No, it floored me actually because it was like, I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's not a whole lot of gameplay to this,
It's
but
more
I
just
was
making choices.
hooked, and it's like and I think, and again, other action games are kind of learning that having a story to read, like Mass Effect, very story, like the story's
Mass
very
Effect 3,
involved.
they promised a bunch of endings. There was no bunch of endings.
Let's not get started on
Yeah,
that. Terrible.
let's not bring up Mass Effect 3. BioShock was another one that
Amazing game.
that's a very good
absolutely, and the way it figured out cinematics actually.
one. Very good.
There's a lot of cinematics in the game, but you're all involved in it. Normally cinematics, pan out and you see the characters interacting. This one, it's always from your point of view. You
But you're always
have
behind a
control.
locked door as you watch things behind the window.
Yeah.
I gotta get in!
Yeah.
Come on, go!
Yeah,
Let me in.
it makes you feel helpless at points in the game.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you'll see a little sister being picked up and thrown against the wall, and you're like, "Let me through the door! I need to kill that person."
But which is why it was really neat for Myst, I noticed, because everything was always, well, I mean, yes, it was interactive, but it seemed like they were at least beside you as opposed to behind a door.
That's true.
Right.
Well, and then Myst 3 actually, they had that. You see the guy run away, and then you just see him in this room for like almost the entire game. You need to.
So
get
every
in
time
this
we
room.
play horror games, she gets mad at me, because when you see the monster, I want to run to it. I can touch him! I can touch the monster!
Okay, Amnesia. Okay, this is an excellent story. Okay, so I played Amnesia twice.
Have you played
Okay.
Penumbra?
Hmm?
Penumbra?
It's like
I've heard of it.
It's the game made by the exact same makers of Amnesia,
Yes.
except it's
Yeah.
a little bit more in depth, and in my opinion, a little bit better because there's
Really?
also more chapters to it.
Okay, so Amnesia, this is a funny story. So first I played it with my one friend, and we were freaked out and everything, and I told Errol, oh, you have to play this game. Playing a game with Errol is a bit different, because he'll do things that the game designers, he should be a playtester. So first,
Let's see the hit range of it.
there's that part very early in Amnesia when you're walking through and you just sort of get into this sense of comfort, and then all of a sudden in the distance you see the first monster, and he's just sort of walking through a door. Everybody else's reaction is the same. They run the other direction. They're like, what is that? I don't know, but I'm gonna go over there now. And Errol, oh, let's go see what it is! The game designers hadn't planned for that. The monster disappears, like it fades away. They designed it that way because they trusted that everybody would run away from the monster. No, not Errol. You
But
can
it's also fun, too, because you can touch everything. I like sandbox games,
Yeah, I
right?
know.
And so every room to
It
make
took
sure...
us like an hour to get to the first two rooms. She's like, oh, look, a box! Can I throw it at that window? Can I throw it at that crack? No.
I was able to move the shirts. That was my biggest
And-
accomplishment. So there's these shirts in the drawer, and you can't touch them. You can't pick them up or anything. But I noticed they slid when you open and close the drawer. They're movable. So I ran and got a chair, and I started bashing the drawer, trying to get out of their shirts.
I'm like, you can't. It's
I need a new shirt!
and he brought it out like a
And they
shirt.
came out.
And
I'm
he
like,
didn't know what was going on. It just started glitching like crazy. It was like, what is going on?
Oh, shirt!
I was able to put also that because it's like there was a funnel. You should be able to balance a funnel on a bottle. Didn't think that, right? It went into perpetual spin. Just
Yeah.
oh.
So like you knew what rooms you'd already been in because they're all like you just see a stack of chairs. You know, like
But you know how to climb. If I climb higher, then I can get the rock out of the window.
Well, there's rocks in here. Don't throw rocks. Yeah. So.
See, and that's what a lot of adventure games need. More, a hell of a lot more interaction, more
Yes.
open world
Yeah.
stuff. Because
The thing
half
is-
the thing is just so linear and
Yeah.
yeah.
The
you
thing
don't
is, like,
really
and
buy
linear's
into it.
not a bad thing if you do it well. Like I said, I'm thinking To the Moon. I'm even thinking Heavy Rain. Like, you have choices to make. You're given choices that will deviate throughout, but it's a very linear game. You very much are on a track. But yes, in order to sort of go forward, adventure games need to learn to evolve with the rest
Yeah,
of
you
the
look at
game.
every other game.
Yeah.
They
They
all the
have.
companies that learned it. They know it's actually what the nerds need and what we want.
We
so
want to
they give it
collect
to us.
things.
Well, exactly. We
We
want
wanna
to build
put
our
everything
army,
in the
our arsenal of weapons.
Like with Borderlands, that's
Yeah.
like the
Oh,
hoarder's
yeah.
favorite game. You walk around and go, ooh, a weapon, ooh, a weapon,
Let's keep
ooh,
it
a
all in
weapon.
my room. Well,
Oh yeah, exactly. The vault just.
I
full.
think the
This
very
gun's a
first
delightful
time
shade of purple.
I ever saw that ever occur, because nobody had ever done it before until Ultima 7. So that's probably the first time that it ever happened. They said, you can do everything. And you could, because you couldn't do, an RPG, you go around, you kill things, and you go, but in Ultima 7 you're allowed to like, look, I can pick up this plate. There's a plate, and I can pick it up. So I did. And then I started collecting all the plates. And then I found that you could bake bread. It's like, oh, I can take the flour and I put it in the water. It's dope.
I got
It's
the bread. I
awesome.
got the plate. and everything.
I have an adventure game that I'm not sure if you've heard of, but it's called Adventure Island.
No, I haven't. But
Wow.
wait, I have heard of it.
It's actually a European game, but what it is you're basically, it's not the best graphics, it's like early 2000s, but basically what it is you go around and you collect sapling, like not sapling, but I mean like you collect branches and logs and you can cut down trees eventually, and then you can basically make up a camp, then you can put tree stands and you can make a slingshot. It's an incredibly good game actually.
That's an awful lot like, what is it, Lost in Blue for the DS, right? Where you had to like survive as well, kind of thing. Those are actually a lot of fun. Like Minecraft, right? Yes,
I
Matt?
never actually got to play these. I keep meaning to go back, but the original Fallouts, I remember
Oh.
my friends going on and on about
Yes.
how you could pretty much do anything in the game and still win. Like you could basically kill off everyone and still finish the game.
It was the first Fallout I did. I played the first Fallout because I played Wasteland long time ago. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Wasteland. It's a really old game. So I played it, and Fallout was kind of like its, spiritual successor, and I really enjoyed it then too. And there's a lot of games now, even if they are kind of RPGs. Because Fallout by then, even Wasteland was more of an RPG, like parts sort of thing. But a lot of them now do have those adventure, but also kind of immense storylines, which makes it great, which is why BioShock is so awesome, right? It's
Actually-
not really an adventure game, but it is.
Yeah, it has Adventure Island.
I think he started, but then of course you haven't asked any questions.
No,
so
I haven't. I was gonna ask you if Shadow of the Colossus would be
Oh,
an adventure
yeah,
game.
I would
That's
say
a
it
really
is.
great game.
That's a really good game.
It's
It's kind of
such a
hard
depressing
though.
ending. I was like, why would you do this to me?
Don't say it, I haven't
Yeah,
finished
I'm
it.
not saying the ending. I'm just
There's,
saying.
if anyone's
Let's
looking for
start
like
the
a
whole
bit more
thing.
classic,
I don't know.
Jane Jensen, who wrote
I
the
don't know, I
Gabriel
didn't see
Knight
it.
series, and most of the good things in Sierra, along with Roberta Williams. She wrote a game recently called Gray Matter. It's
Oh yeah.
about a
you
year
did
and a
that
half.
to me.
I did. It's a great game. Like it kind of goes back to the classic. It's a very well written game, and it's kind of more classic if you're looking for that.
Oh, not quite yet.
Oh,
Not
okay.
quite yet. No, it's kind of.
You still got 10 minutes.
Oh, huzzah. Maybe what we can do, just for fun, so we can have people say things, give us your most frustrating puzzle.
Yes.
We can do that.
Gabriel Knight mustache.
Oh, the mustache puzzle! I
Yes,
played that a
yeah.
couple of years ago, and I was just, what?
Gabriel.
Who would be fooled by this? It's cat hair and maple syrup.
Yes.
Oh, she can't think of
Yeah.
Probably at the point in Penumbra where you have to mix a bunch of chemicals to get this exact solution. If you don't get the right solution, you go and place it down, but then it immediately explodes and everyone dies. The end.
There you go.
Probably the last bit of Day of the Tentacle, where you actually have to bounce the shrink beam off of Dr. Fred's little head thing to get him to hit himself.
Yes.
There was a woman in Grim Fandango. Oh, what was it?
Grim Fandango was brilliant. I remember that.
There was that was one of the. I love that game. There's Matt introduced it to me actually.
Yeah.
And
Calabash. So the great thing too is like Steam is allowing people to like a lot of independent developers make these things, and GOG.com has a lot of those old games.
And they're coming out with like because I didn't realize like I guess it is kind of old now. Like Siberia came out in like 2000-ish, 2002.
13 years ago.
Yeah.
I thought of one.
Yes.
In Legend of the Phantom Hourglass for DS, there's a puzzle on a ship, but the clue didn't tell you what actually happened. So the clue gave you the wrong thing, and
Oh,
if you
really?
get it wrong,
I'm trying to remember which one that was.
it was like on the ghost ship thing.
Yeah.
And then like there's like a row of levers, and the clue told you the wrong thing.
Oh, did they? I can't
Yeah.
remember. All I remember from that is that I had to yell really loud, but I was in bed beside my wife, so I'm going.
You do what everyone else does. You tap the microphone.
I should have.
There was
No, actually, I tried that, and that didn't work either. It wasn't loud enough.
There's a game I played recently that I reviewed actually called A Space Adventure, and it's a very much a mistyped game, and it's kind of funny because
Oh, the great thing about it is it doesn't hold your hand. So a lot of games now hold your hand.
It's like-
Maybe you
it's-
should look there,
yeah.
where the arrow is pointing.
Yeah, and it's actually if you liked Myst, and it's a very Myst type game, but it's kind of a game on its own right. It's not really a clone. It was just made this year, like in January, I think it was released, and there's this one part though.
It's European too, actually.
It's European. It's a one
French.
French.
In my opinion, most good games these days, this is just my opinion, are either like indie games from like America or big games from Europe.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
just my opinion though.
The better.
And the occasional game from Japan because they have some really deep, like inclusive.
Well, this
Amazing
game, you
games.
learn very early on that I should have brought it with me. I have my notebook with all my notes
Oh
from
yeah.
that game. Oh, like very early on, it's like at the very beginning, they're like, you should get a notebook out. You really should. It's like
We were
every
writing down everything.
every single thing we came across, we learned it's probably going to be important later. It's probably some clue to some puzzle. And anyway, so you get into this mindset, and I go into this room towards the end of the game, and there's like nothing but numbers all around, like scrawled on the walls, and I'm like, I don't know. And so I wrote them all down, and I'm like, I just probably have to figure out which one of them they are. And
It's all of them.
It's all of them. They're all important, and you have to figure out where they go. And it's just I just remember that moment where I was like, oh, this is gonna take. This is where I turned off the game because I'm like, I don't actually need to have the game on to solve this puzzle. So.
I actually changed my mind about the most challenging puzzle.
Oh yeah.
Maniac Mansion with the gerbil and the microwave.
Oh yeah.
Oh, King's Quest. Who's playing King's Quest 5?
I watched the John review of that one.
Oh yeah.
It looks pretty good.
It's sometimes. Jeez, that is very much one of those games like the.
I love games like that where there's like infinite amounts of and different creative ways to die.
Yeah.
The
Any
Yeti
game I play, yeah.
was what got me.
Any game I play, if I see an interesting way to lose or die, I will do it just to see it.
Oh yeah.
So same with me, like with Dead Space.
Thank
With
you.
the
Thank
different
you.
death scenes that you can do.
I haven't actually played Death Stranding.
on the
Finished
computer.
too,
It was a
I'm gonna
LucasArts game. There's a LucasArts game that if you clicked on the computer, you could play the complete Maniac.
Oh,
Mansion
that
game.
was Day of the Tentacle.
Was that Day of Tentacle?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what it was.
Oh, it's in
hilarious.
Weird Ed's room.
Yeah.
I actually played that, and that game scared me a little
It's
bit.
hard. It was
Because like you walk around this empty house, and if they spot you, bam, you're gonna.
So the cave is like that actually, where you have to choose amongst 7.
Yeah.
So it's how old
Same.
is the cave?
Oh, it just came out.
Just came out.
Yeah.
And then you have to explore the cave with 2 or 3, I think.
3,
It is.
yeah.
And it's multiplayer. So I'm really
It's
excited
a
to do
co-op
that.
adventure game, so I'm interested to play
I just
it.
watched Yahtzee's review on that one too.
Oh yeah, I
I
didn't see
didn't
his
see it.
review on that yet. Did he like it? Wow. No,
He's a
critic.
Mostly yes,
Jossie.
but he chides the fact that you have to play the game like 3 times through at minimum to see all of the different character stories.
Yeah. No, that makes
Yeah.
sense for that.
So you know, it's interesting, like where it's going and stuff. I still like playing the older games. Like there's a bunch I want to try out that I haven't tried out yet. But I'll be interested to see where it goes. Like whether there's going to be more pure adventure games or whether they're going to sort of make these hybrids that they seem to be making. A lot of interesting things are happening. So. Yeah.
We're gonna wrap up now
Yeah.
because I see people chomping at the bit to leave. I have to go to the washroom. I've been drinking the whole time.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, so
And,
thanks for the discussion. I always like discussing them, so.
Sorry for
plans-
speaking out for like half the thing.
No worries. That's
You didn't.
good.
You raised your hand. That's
I
not
know,
sticking
but
out.
sometimes.
So you can talk with Madman's Lord. She knows a lot. I know a lot of games.